All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on? Jake, Little Neck, Andrew, Allen, Hebrew Cheetah, Jordan, Gerald, Christian. I said it right from the get-go. There's only a couple people in here. We appreciate every single one. All we ask, like button, subscribe button, helps us out a ton. It's a Green Bay Packers game. We got a Green Bay guy we brought in down below. I couldn't wear my jersey. Don't want too many people coming in. What is this, a Packers show? No, I'll be the host. I'll be a little mutual, no bias over here. We got our man Nades talking about the pack. We got the Hoopster, of course, as always. Excited to bring them in. 48.5 total. 3.5 point spread are the Packers' favorites. Should be a great football game. Two good teams. And Hoop brought it up. I'll throw it to him. But the last two Lions losses are these Green Bay Packers and the Washington Commanders. How we doing today, Hoop? Excited for this one tonight?
Yeah, doing well. Excited for this one. And yeah, I mean, these two teams set the Lions down the path of destruction, as I'm kind of saying. It's, hey, I nailed the week one. I said they were not going to do well against the Packers. I didn't think it was going to be that bad. I have to admit, I thought it'd be maybe a little bit closer, but the Packers absolutely kicked my Lions' ass. And you guys were soft on me. Like, Nades, you and I had the back and forth, but you didn't give it to me too hard because I think you knew. I realized early on it wasn't looking good for me. Made the call, worked out well from the take standpoint, but from the fan standpoint, man, not feeling good about my Lions. I think too much to fix. And it's just funny listening to like sports talk radio and stuff, and like every fan base, they're just so hardcore for their team. It's like, oh, it's just one game. Even Dan Campbell, like, I'm kind of getting sick of his shit too. Like, oh, it's just one game. We'll fix it. It's not a big, like, no, that was a big deal. You got your ass handed to you in every facet of the game. So definitely kudos to the Packers. But a good game tonight for DFS. Million up top on DraftKings. FanDuel prize pools are big. And just wanted to thank Nades for stepping in for Tambo today. Kind of got me pigeonholed in a corner here. I got the two Packers guys, so I'll try to hold my own as we go through.
Yeah, I can't be lying. No jersey on, but little Packers there, little Packers there, little Packers there. I mean, there's Packers everywhere, no doubt about that. Nades, excited to bring you in, excited to talk some football with you. How we doing today?
Pretty good. Glad to be on here. Subbing in for Tambo. Should be a fun one. I think I got some interesting takes overall. Seems like a pretty good slate in general, pretty good total. Obviously still good weather here in Green Bay this time of the year, so not really too worried about any snow or rain or crappy field conditions. I mean, talk about Soldier Field. That field looked miserable out there, and Green Bay's got their natural their natural grass out there, and man, tough scene for the Bears. But yeah, now Hoopster kind of hit the nail on the head. The Lions, tough scene for them. And hey, as a head coach, right, of a franchise after last year and the year before and all the hype around them, you got to do your best to try and save face as much as you can with Dan Campbell there. But now looking forward to breaking this one down. Should be a pretty fun game here.
Yeah, absolutely. And a big announcement. We are getting two of the SHIPIT giveaways. The golden SHIPIT tickets will be given away. And today, this week, a 555 Milli Maker will be the one that gets drawn. We're doing the head-to-head with Hoop and the 555 SHIPIT ticket where you get to see the core on our core page. Tambo and whoever that said member is that wins will have a chance to build that. $1 million of first. And what, 20%? Is it 10 or 20% that goes back to the person?
They get 10%, 50 to the prize pool. So
100K.
Like we talked about in the open, the one way to increase the ship against prize pool is to hit big on one of these game 2 winners. And no big hit could occur this week than the milli up top. And like we said, the ticket most weeks going to be $333 unless they got that milli maker for $555. They got the milli maker for $555, so that's what we're rolling with this week.
Absolutely. 79,000 right now in cash and prizes. 20,000 that's going to be the first place. Again, how do you get these tickets? It's not too late. If you're not a member over here right now, we still are running this early bird $349. That price will be going up, I believe, on Sunday. But if you want MMA, which is a big boy card this week, NASCAR, MLB, NBA will be back before you know it. We do have all monthly, all access packages. If you click Join the Nation right here, you can see if you just want content only. We are partnered with the best optimizer around, though. You can see the difference between core, starter, ultimate. You can see everything on one graph down below. Again, these prices will be going up. Absolutely the cheapest in the industry. And we still have everything you need. Projections, ownership, all the showdown content. Golf is still going. Not too many in the streets. We still have GS Luke talking about it. Our projections, ownership, everything up. As always, nice MMA slate this week. Again, NASCAR, Big Nades and I still in the baseball streets. We got you covered, even though it's NFL season. College football, don't forget about that either. That is included in our football package. We would love to have you at the Nation. Multiple different options if you do want to join. We're going to talk some broad slate. I'll throw it to you, Nades, first for your broad slate. Hoop, I don't know if you want to throw up Saberson, the dry run, your thoughts there. Nades, the Packer fan, 48.5 total, 3.5 point spreads of the Packers. Just grand scheme, how you see the game going, and then translate that into DFS.
Yeah, broad slate overview. I think captain position is going to be really condensed in terms of ownership with Jaden Daniels, Jacobs, and Love up top. Just because, right, you got some unknowns in terms of the Packers receiving game, just much like last year, right? Kind of wide receiver roulette going on there. So it's hard for people to really kind of tap in at a big rate to the wide receiver pass catchers up top. Josh Jacobs, obviously workhorse back, solidified there. Some talking points we can bring in, right? Short week, first game, second game of the season, right? Off a short week. So you could see a little bit more work going to some of the backup guys. But from a captain perspective, dry runs, everything kind of points to Daniels, Jacobs, and Love up top for the most part. A little bit of Romeo Doubs and Debo and McLaurin, things like that. So after that, it's pretty much a wasteland. I think there's some interesting avenues on we can tap in. And not only that, right, the week one kind of overreactions, I think a lot is going to play into this game too with some of the Packers wide receiver stuff, right, with Romeo Doubs, Tucker Kraft, and then on the other side, right, with Krusky Merritt, right, the rookie running back there, and Eckler kind of getting lost in the shuffle there. So week one overreactions always come true. I think combining, right, your preseason or before last Sunday, right, before week one, kind of our envisions of how we thought these teams were going to look, and then combine that with what some of the stuff that we actually saw. I think finding the happy medium between both of those, I think, is going to be important here tonight. And again, we still not going to know. It's still early in the season. It's still basically the preseason for many of these teams, but I think ownership is going to dictate a lot more in the regard of what happened last week has to happen this week, and that's not always the case.
Yeah, absolutely. Week one, no one knows anything. You can always go against the chalk that way. Week two, people think they know everything just off a 1 week sample. So that's good stuff there. Hoop, what I always like to look at is, like, how open is the slate? For the Packers, obviously quarterback's never open. Running back, it's not open really on the Packers. Jacob's going to get 90% of the work, if that. You get to the receiver room, though, you talk about it a lot. I mean, you're playing Russian roulette with these guys. Just so many guys will be mixing in. They run 2 tight end sets and they'll run 3 receivers. Occasionally they'll go spread, but outside of Romeo Doubs, who's completely mispriced, it's not usually the same 2 guys that are on the field. Jaden Reed only was playing in 3 receiver sets. Golden didn't play as much as some thought. Wicks mixed in a good amount. Then you go to the Commander side. They mix receivers decent, little more than I expected too, but they have the big question at running back. Is it Eckler? Is it JCM, etc.? I like that. I want more questions. I want more players on the field when it comes to a showdown game. A lot can happen. We play a dupe game. I mean, huge prizes, 130,000 people in that main contest today. I think there is still a lot of unknowns on both sides with snaps and stuff that you can embrace, and we could see a lower dupe winner like we've seen, it seems like, to start the year.
So, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I like looking at the slate. How open is it? Like, what do we know? What don't we know? What do we know? Jaden Daniels, stud fantasy player. Jordan Love, good player. Josh Jacobs going to get all the work. Commanders wide receivers, we know who the 2 main guys are. Debo Samuel and Terry McLaurin. Outside of that, pretty open slate. Like, we didn't know what we were going to get with the Packers wide receivers. Like, last year, they mixed in a ton of guys. We weren't 100% that was going to be the case this year. Well, it is the case this year, at least based on week one. They're going to continue to play a ton of different guys at wide receiver. So it does make it difficult to really capture and nail down the quote unquote ceiling game that you need for Showdown. So I do think ownership at the captain position probably a little more consolidated around certain guys, and those guys are going to be Jaden Daniels. We're showing him 25%. Josh Jacobs, 18, probably going to be 20%. Jordan Love a little bit, but then after that, it opens up quite a bit. You're looking at probably a bunch of guys that are between 3 and 8% probably, and then you're going to have your sprinkle guys in there as well. So at the end of the day, I think it's going to be Jaden Daniels, Josh Jacobs that get probably close to 50%, I would say, ownership in the captain spot. I do anticipate both to come up. So if you have a lean on anyone else, you're going to get them at low ownership. And we'll talk about some other guys. I do think it is somewhat interesting, and this is just based off projected points. I went in here, ran it, and I am going to change it. I'm going to switch to Sabre Score for the sake of the show because it's liking the value guys in captain just based off projected score, and then you get to flex, and it just wants to jam Jaden Daniels, Jacobs, Jordan Love. You can see it basically 100%, 95%, 86%. So this dry run based on projected score is really not going to do us any good. Like just the way the points are shaping up, it wants these cheap captains. So I'm going to run it by Sabre Score and see. But for me personally, in the captain spot, definitely fine with the two guys that I talked about, Jaden Daniels, Josh Jacobs. I think their role and expectations safest on the slate. Jordan Love, a little bit more risky than those two. And then all these pass catchers and running backs should be low owned. So again, it's an opportunity to take advantage of your reads and guys you want to get overweight on. It's going to be easy to get overweight on the guys that you want outside of these main few guys at the top. So I'm going to switch this and we can talk through it again, but that's kind of where I'm at in the captain position.
Yeah, 55%. We have it when you add up Jaden Daniels, Jacobs, Love at captain, everyone else below 10%. I mean, there's some big boy names. Terry McLaurin, obviously not a great week one, but did people forget about him? Deebo Samuel. And then, like Jaden Reed, Golden. Some of these guys look a little overpriced. I don't know if even that's the right word. Off of week one in the usage, yes. But obviously the upside is still there when you're comparing the ownership. And the complete biggest misprice on the slate. That's why you were showing sorting by projection. Romeo Doubs, I mean, he was the clear Packers number one. He played 97% of snaps. The next was Golden at 66, Wicks 63. Like he's 2 receiver sets, 3 receiver sets. He's on the field and he's 4K. Like he's the third highest priced Packers receiver, which doesn't make much sense, but you know where the chalk is going. Why, when you do projected score, why is Doubs up top? Easy to get Jacobs, Daniels, Love, and you can build an all-star squad there. Just know if you're doing that in large field tournaments, you probably want to get different at one spot so you're not holding hands with a bunch of people. I say we take it in the captain nades. If you have anything else to add, you can. But again, with 55% of the ownership being built around 3 guys, I think there's a handful. I mentioned Terry, Deebo, Tucker Kraft, Golden. Like there's enough skill position players that I think you can get a little different. Now, do you want to do that? And then talk on Jordan Love captain too. Is there enough? We've seen a lot of rushing upside quarterbacks, or at least quarterbacks get there with their legs. McCarthy, Caleb, Herbert, Mahomes. Obviously, Daniels can get there that way. I would say Love has sneaky rushing upside as well. He'll take it if the defense gives it to him. So, talk with Jordan Love, then what are you doing at the captain position?
Yeah, so captain position, obviously the big 3, right? Daniels, Jacobs, and Love. I think this is a case where you can play Love up in captain position. When do I want to play quarterbacks over their pass catchers, right, on DraftKings where it's heavy PPR format is in an instance like a Jordan Love where, right, in the first half, I think he had 9 different receivers, right, with a catch at least there. So if he's spreading it out, it's a lot less like a Dallas, right, with like a CD Lamb up top, or like Cincinnati, right, where Jamar Chase most of the time is kind of the main guy that's going to get the ultimate ceiling performance. It can definitely happen, but in an instance like that, I'm more willing to play a Jordan Love. Not only that, it's going to be direct leverage off of Josh Jacobs as well, because I think Josh Jacobs is the captain number 2 behind Jaden Daniels. Can't really say much more about Jaden Daniels. I mean, Packers historically have been gashed by rushing quarterbacks. Now, obviously, the defense is different this year with Micah Parsons, and not just the addition of him, what it does for the rest of the defense. It gives other guys more opportunities to just kind of play and do their thing and be more forgot about when you do have a Parsons. I get it. He's not going to play every snap, but definitely had a huge impact in game one. Jaden Daniels, that could lead to more opportunities for him, right, to scramble. His rushing prop is 46.5, juice the over there. So very, very good in terms of upside. So not much more to say about Jaden Daniels. I am slightly worried about Josh Jacobs. I think he's fine, but I think I might tap into a little bit more of, in the captain position, the Washington side and Jordan Love up top, just because I think more people are going to go into Jacobs with the uncertainty, and I might actually tap into the uncertainty a little bit more with the Packers, with the flop leg spots of guys that have home run upside, like a Matthew Golden, like a Jaden Reed, who last week, even the Giants, right, miserable performance against these Commanders in week one, but Wan'Dale Robinson did have a pretty good game out of the slot there. Jaden Reed, I think, has upside here. Everybody forgot about him. He had the questionable take coming in last week, still was fine. And everybody wants to go to Romeo Doubs due to the price point. So for me, I'm going to be a little bit under on Jacobs. It's not a full fade or an X position or X thing like that. I've been tapping into the portfolio diversity for SaberSim using our stone. Jacobs looks good on the stone. It's just, I think, tapping into a Jordan Love and maybe going like a Tucker Kraft, and not any pass catchers or something like that in the flex thing, little ways like that to be different. Maybe you play a Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs in like a Kraft or something like that, and then run it back on the other side with pass catchers, or a Jaden Daniels type thing. So Jaden Daniels, for me, hard to ignore. He's going to be my most exposed captain, just like everybody else. But I think you can get different with him. Do like a 2-4, Jaden Daniels up top, or like a 1-5 if you see it that way, or go Jaden Daniels and maybe like the kicker or something in the flex, and just say, hey, Jaden Daniels spreads it around enough, does most of his work, maybe runs in a touchdown or two, picks up his 60 yards rushing on the ground, and that's enough to do it that way. So not much more to say about those three up top. And then my kind of sneakier options at the captain position, I think Terry McLaurin is definitely an interesting play. I think more people are going to go to Deebo Samuel there with the price discount and just the what they've seen from week one with the Commanders and Deebo Samuel's workhorse and role. Obviously, Deebo's done pretty well against the Packers when he was on the 49ers. So I think Terry McLaurin still has the home run upside there to contest. And maybe if Jaden Daniels does get pressured, right, runs out of the pocket, you could see some broken coverage there and Terry McLaurin find his way. All it takes is for McLaurin one or two catches, right? The bomb, he's the home run guy. So I like him. And then on the Packers side, I think tapping into Jaden Reed and Matthew Golden as the flop leg candidates. I get it. There's uncertainty there, but both of them have a ceiling. Like I talked about, I think Jaden Reed can do his magic out of the slot there. And on the outside last year, the Commanders were pretty susceptible to the outside guys, which would boost Matthew Golden there. But that nothing too much more to add from the captain position.
Yeah, Hoop, I kind of want you to touch on this. As the Lions fan, we thought it was the combination of both. Like, I definitely think Green Bay's defense is very much improved, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's Jaden Daniels. Better O can beat better D. With his legs, he can make a lot happen. I did like what Nate said. Like, I'm going to be playing a lot of Daniels, even though he's the chalkiest caption option. You can play him in so many different ways. Him by himself because he runs it 2 or 3 times. Him with 3 Commanders because he spreads it around that way, can do it with his legs. Whereas Love, you put him at captain, more times than not, you probably want at least 2 pass catchers because, yeah, while he can scamper in and stuff, it's not like what he's known to do. So that's why I like Daniels. And then I will be playing a good amount of Jacobs. Minus 200 to score. No one else is better than plus 135 on the slate. 77.5 rushing prop. Props look really good on him. And then looking at receivers, then I'm throwing it to you. No receiver with a better receiving prop, more than 55 yards. The Packers, Dobbs 41.5, Kraft 41.5, Reed 39.5, Golden 35.5. Obviously, we can get outliers. Do you see any of those happening at captain? Will you be playing any of those Green Bay pass catchers? What are you doing?
Yeah. So in regards to the Green Bay defense, is that good or is Detroit that bad with Jonathan? I think it's probably somewhere in the middle. Like, do I think their defense is so good that they are going to hold teams essentially 6 points? I mean, the last touchdown by Tesla was a great catch, by the way, but it's like a throwaway touchdown. The game's over at that point. So I do think their defense is really good. But I think the Lions offense could also be pretty bad as well. So I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, I do think Green Bay's defense is good. They're like top 5 overall last year. So it's definitely a good defense. But the one thing I will say in the NFL, a good offense can definitely beat a good defense. It doesn't matter how good your defense is. A well-oiled, solid offense will crush a solid defense every single day of the week. So that's my opinion there. In regards to the pass catchers and the low low yardage lines, over-unders in terms of the yards, like that is the reason they're all going to be low owned up top. Like no one's going to want to embrace that risk. Like there's no one that stands out as a guy. Maybe it's Debo. And I'm fine with him out there just because of the versatility and how many different things he can do on the field. But I kind of like Terry tonight. I think it could be a bounce back spot for him. Like last week, it all went to Debo. He got the job done. They're going to want Terry McLaurin involved in this offense, and I think they kind of make a point to get him going. So I'm good with that. I do struggle with the Green Bay guys. I mean, you can definitely take some chances, but like I don't know who it would be. Like if I did, like the one that's probably the most popular up there is probably Dobbs because of the price tag. He's what, 4K, so you're going to be able to play him in captain and get a lot of other solid options in there like Tucker Kraft. I'd probably be fine with. But I could just go very consolidated up top. I haven't built any teams. I could just kind of stick to the main guys and hope it's one of them that gets there, the guys that I think have the most direct path. Now, I think the Jordan Love stuff is a good talking point as well, kind of for the reasons that Nades touched on. Like if you do play him up top, you probably want a couple pass catchers and you have a ton of options to go along with them. So maybe, if it is a Jordan Love captain, the dupes are a little bit less just because of how many different combinations there are to pair him with, including, tight end as well. So, and Jacobs. I mean, you can definitely pair him with Jacobs too if you're going Jordan Love captain. So that is definitely one argument for the Jordan Love captain is your options are endless. Like in terms of the pass catchers, you can play him with the running back, you can play him with the tight end. So that does add some appeal from a roster construction standpoint. But I do struggle with identifying the Packers guys that I want in the captain spot. Again, I might end up just going pretty condensed up top and hope it's one of the main dudes. But McLaurin is definitely the one that stands out to me. I think, what are we showing for ownership? He's down here 6%. I think it could be lower. I think he could be 4% in the captain or something. And I want to be overweight on him captain tonight for sure. That would be my one low own kind of play up top.
Yeah, if I'm picking a Packer, I'm going Tucker Kraft. A lot of that has to do with he played 100% of snaps. I think he's one of the best tight ends in football. Like the Dobbs stuff, I'll be playing a lot at the flex for sure, but I almost want to overspend, I think, to get a little less ownership with like a Golden. Like I feel a little better. If someone that actually goes 102 today, sure, Dobbs can catch some long passes and stuff, but I feel like it would be Golden to break it there. It's harder for me to see the Wicks who mixes in. Again, Dobbs at his price tag. Like I just don't want to eat that chalk as much. Young, explosive. Golden has that big play upside. Him and Kraft would be my favorite two pass catchers on the Packers side. McLaurin would be my favorite for Washington. But I could see myself just alone having 60% Daniels and Jacobs combine that captain today. They're by far my two favorite plays. I think you can get different enough in the flex. So I will definitely be eating some chalk there. But then after that, if you have, like I'm playing 150 today, if I have 3 to 5% of Debo, of Golden, of like 7 guys, of Eckler, etc., I'm good with that. I do want to I'll throw it to you right to running back, Coop. You can take it to flex if you want. You hadn't talked any running backs on the Commander side. But the Eckler JCM stuff. So Eckler played majority in the first half. JCM played a lot more in the second half. They did healthy scratch C-Rod, which was very interesting. I guess you just assume they're going to scratch him today because McNichols took over the third down back role. But it feels like Eckler's the third down back. If they're down 14 points, he's probably the one that's out there as the better pass catcher. Now, if the flip script, kind of like Javonte Williams maybe, if Merritt and the Commanders are up 14-0 early, like I assume he'd be on the field 70% of the snaps or whatever it may be. So do you see it that way, kind of game script dependent? Are you playing either of those two at captain? And then, what are you doing running back in the flex?
Yeah, it's probably a similar situation to last year, with Eckler when they're all healthy. It's like he's the guy that they're going to use when down or, 2-minute drill. And then who was it? Brian Robinson was like the touchdown, grind out the clock sort of thing. It's probably the same thing. But for me, I'm just going to lean on DK scoring and say I'm going to play Eckler definitely over what does he go by, Bill or JCM, whatever we want to
Roxy
use here.
Merritt, JCM's easy.
Yeah, he's got a lot of different options. So like for JCM, I guess that's what we'll go with. Like he's got to find the end zone at 7K. Like he has to score a touchdown to be on optimal in my eyes. Whereas Eckler, I think, can get there in a lot of different ways. A bunch of catches, touchdown. So I'm going to have way more Eckler than JCM. He's like, to me, game script dependent. He's a hype name. People are excited about him. They're talking about him on social media. I think his ownership comes up for that reason. So Eckler over JCM. And then with these cheap guys, like if I get some, I'm fine with it. And then I really don't even need to talk about Jacobs. Like he's clearly the top, the most stable skilled position guy in terms of projected fantasy points. He's going to be high owned. It's, whatever you can get, you get. But my main thing at this position will be Eckler over JCM. And it'll probably be a pretty wide gap for me in terms of ownership between those two in favor of Eckler.
Yeah, it's tough for me. I might just get overweight on both. The thing with JCM is he has a real price tag at 7K. So does Eckler at 6.8K. So I don't know how much I love playing them together, but I do like getting overweight. Let's see, 24% Eckler in the flex if I had 30%, JCM 18 if I had 25, and you have them in different lineups. You're just hoping whatever game script that you're building to, you should build those lineups differently. They should tell a story. Again, Washington, I think they play from ahead if JCM gets there. Eckler more likely to get there if they play from behind. But yeah, 50% ownership of both of them combined, plus 235 for Merritt to score, plus 250 for Eckler. I'm going to probably embrace that. The Packers stuff, Captain Golden. I like it. I like Captain Golden, a lot of upside. But we got to talk about Chris Brooks because there is RB2 for the Packers stuff. A lot of people thought it was Emmanuel Wilson coming in the year. Chris Brooks outsnapped them 9-2. Now, 9 isn't very much, but the dude's $400. Like that could be 3 touches, 30 yards. A lot of random stuff can happen. I don't see very many at all viable options. Like $200, you're talking like Malik Heath. He's not fun. 600, there's Bates. Lane is 1.6K. There's not much down below. Brooks seems like the clear guy. He's going to be on the field some. He's $400. It doesn't take too much. You can play him with Jacobs. You can do a lot of stuff. So they should have swapped his price and Wilson's, but I think you have to have Brooks in your pool. I'll probably be overweight to Brooks. I don't think it'll take too much. Only 9% we're showing.
Just to add on to Brooks too, I'm glad you mentioned the ownership there at the end, 9%. These plays have come in much lower owned than projections recently on the cheap guys. People got accustomed to last season seeing that we don't need the cheap guys because there was very few and far between slates where you actually needed the cheap guys. These cheap guys have come in at lower ownership. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 5 or 6%. And then if you play 10, you're double the field. We'll see though.
Yeah, we will see. It's an interesting spot for sure because he has somewhat of a projection, but you're right. Like Dobbs being so cheap, Noah Brown, Wicks, you don't have to go down there if you don't want. So you very well might be right. I'll be playing him regardless. And I prefer Jacobs at captain than flex. I either want him to fully get there or not as much. I'll obviously have some at flex. Nades, take away the running back room.
Yeah, so I'm with Hoop. I'm going Eckler over JCM. I know ownership's pretty similar there. I can see it shifting. I just know Green Bay struggles with pass catching running backs. You saw it with Gibbs yesterday or last week. Gibbs got all of his fantasy points basically for his 10 catches that he had. Almost a 36% target share did Gibbs have in that game. You look at last season numbers. Green Bay almost 20% target share going to the opposing running backs. Eckler fits that. Right there, and $200 different. I think enough people look at week one. I'm tapping into the 3.5 point dogs, not just because I'm a Packers fan. I think this game is back and forth. I also think I don't think it's a game like last week, right, where Washington's up 14-3 at halftime, 14-6 going into the fourth quarter, right, and just can lean on JCM, right, as the workhorse Brian Robinson type back. So in that instance, and ownership's fairly similar, I'm just going to double the ownership and go right to Eckler. I get the reasons for JCM. I think you could play him, but your lineup has to tell a story if you're playing JCM. I don't think JCM, if you think Green Bay hangs around or wins this game, I think that benefits Eckler more. If you're flipping the script and going, Washington comes in Green Bay, wins this game, right, and maybe wins by 7 to 10 points, something like that, that's where I would play more JCM over Eckler. With the Green Bay cheap guys, you have to keep Chris Brooks in there. I get it. Jacobs is a workhorse. He's an awesome back, everything like that. Dominated the snaps, played almost every snap last week, almost every rush. But again, it's game 2. They know Jacobs is heavily involved and a pivotal piece to this offense going forward. I have a hard time off a short week so early in the season, them just continue to just give Jacobs every touch, especially with the injuries that they have to their rookie that they drafted last season that sat out all year. Now he's injured again. I can see more snaps and more touches coming to Wilson and Brooks. I prefer Brooks at the price point, but again, you can flip it in tournaments. If there was, I think more people go to Brooks there, so you couldn't make the tournament. I'm just going to tap into Brooks from the running back position. So for me, it's Jacobs, Eckler is my main 2. And then in scripts where you think Washington's going to win, that's where JCM would come in. Otherwise, I prefer Brooks.
Yeah. And again, because they're 3.5-point dogs, right now we have Eckler 5% higher. I think it probably stays true, but it's not hard. You can go overweight Eckler and Merritt, build it differently. You still have some fade lineups, but you just hope one of them get there. That's probably the approach I will take. Hoop, I see a little golden ticket winner number 6 up. Are we doing that right now?
Yeah, we'll make the announcement. We'll announce the number 6 now, and then number 7 at the end. So the winner of golden ticket number 6 will be playing me in a head-to-head. Big Nade stepped in last week and got his ass kicked. I mean, it was so easy to beat Nades in a head-to-head. I mean, I built the team, and it had to have been like maybe 10 seconds. Just click, 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 0 effort, got the win. Move on to 1-0, easy victory. I know the winner of ticket number 6 will put up a bigger fight than Nades did last week. I'll let you can come in and say something if you want before I put the name out there. You got anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, I did the exact same thing as you. I sent you the link on the shitter before lock. He was uploaded, and yet it took a Sutton freaking 19-point performance or whatever. He had to beat me by 2 points. So, hey, I'll give it to you. Jonathan Taylor kicked me where the sun don't shine again in the cash lineup and the regular teams. But, Hoopster, the career-long cash player, you were the minus 1250 favorite.
Retired cash winner, got the job done. I guess I still have the talent. Maybe I should hop back into the streets. We'll see. But the winner, ticket number 6 is boom, 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 and boom. Thomas McCants, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Thomas McCants. So he'll be facing me in a head-to-head. If he wins, he gets $250. Either way, he's into the final at the end with 50 contestants. So congrats to Thomas. Look forward to playing you that head-to-head. Hit me up in the Discord, and we'll get that contest set up. So congratulations, Thomas McCants.
Awesome stuff. Congrats to Thomas McCants. Again, you didn't need to join before the year. You had more ballots, you have more opportunity to get in. But even if you sign up right now, week 2, then you get 2 SHIPIT tickets for week 2, 3 for the next week. You're not behind the 8 ball too much. And again, Thomas, even if he does lose the hoop, I think he's gonna get Hoopster this week though. Nade's little easy competition. Who might be a little lax. Build it in 10 seconds against Thomas. I don't think the same thing will happen. But hey, $250 if you win that free roll. Even if you don't, you have a chance at $20K. You are in the final 50. So big congrats to you. And at the end of the show in about 30 minutes, the big one, number 7, a chance to build with Tambo in the 555 milli. And again, 10% of that, $100K. I promise you will be happy if you bank that, and everyone at Chip Nation, because that $70K in prizes and cash only goes up. So congrats to you, Thomas. What if you win? You get to pick your head-to-head opponent? No. You got the Hoopster.
Come for the big dog regardless. I'm 1-0. Going to extend to 2-0 this week. I set the line at
9-7, I think you said.
Yeah, I said what is it, 17? So 10-7. I set the line at 9.5. So I mean, if you want any side action, last week it was an official win, so 1-0. So we just need 9 more victories to hit the over. So good.
Everyone would just win and pick on Nades. Hoop already set the trend. Everyone would be like, "Yo, give me Nades head to head." Nah, I'm playing. We'll talk some FanDuel at the end, Drea.
Yeah,
don't you worry. Let's go into the wide receiver room. who went last at running back? Nate, I'll throw it to you. You got the Packers. You talk about this mess of a Packers wide receiver room. Again, Dobbs, 97% of snaps. Then Golden, Wicks, Reed, all a little above 50. Malik Heath got in at the end for a little bit as well, but mainly a four-headed monster. Reed, Wicks, Golden, Dobbs. How do we play them? Is there any groups you would avoid? What are we doing? And then talk about commander side too.
Yeah, so I'll start with Romeo Dobbs. Hard to ignore his price point there. Just know when you are playing Dobbs, it's going to be popular there. So looking to be a little bit different when you do play Dobbs is something to tap into there. The thing that stands out to me here is Golden stuck in no man's land. He's literally sandwiched between Tucker Kraft and the other guy. I mean, you look at Golden, right? 6,400. You got Jaden Reed at 8,200. You got Eckler at 6,800. I think more people are going to tap into those guys there. So I think much more people are just willing to click on Tucker Kraft and Romeo Dobbs after the kind of reassurance from week one, right? In terms of snap counts, in terms of participation and everything. I think Golden is still has upside. They went out and drafted him. First time they took a wide receiver in round one. And they like this guy, right? Maybe it's going to take some time for him to get under. This is a perfect time when nobody is on him to jump back on the ship. I will say he directly correlates with Dontavian Wicks. When Wicks was on the field, Golden was not, pretty much. I wouldn't set probably a hard set rule because Golden's 6,400 and Wicks is only 3,600, but I would be worried or just weary of how many lineups you do play with those two together because they do kind of negatively impact each other. I'm debating in my 20 max stuff to set a rule to avoid it, just to get a little different there, because I think at the $3,600 price point that he will hit more teams just projections wise alone. But I say all that to say Wicks is the pivot right there off of Romeo Dobbs. So if you aren't playing, maybe you go a Jaden Reed and a Wicks instead of a Dobbs and a Kraft or something like that. And it flips the build a little bit there from the wide receiver room. I'm not messing with the Malik Heath, the Williams of the world. I'm not messing with those guys. So from a pass catcher perspective, Golden's my favorite. Jaden Reed's my second favorite, then Dobbs, then Wicks. And then tight end, we'll go into tight end next. But yeah, that's from the Packers wide receiver stuff. And then on the commander side, I really like Terry McLaurin, like I talked about. I like him more up at the captain position because it feels like if Terry gets there, he gets all the way there. So at 9K, I'd rather play Deebo Samuel, I think, in the flex over Terry, which is going to be the more popular take, but they're going to be similar enough in terms of ownership. We got them right there, pretty similar right next to each other. So I prefer Deebo in the flex over Terry McLaurin up top more. And then the other guys, I mean, I'm not too enthused to play these other guys here. Noah Brown, I think, is the next guy that comes up just in terms of his price, his value. He was involved last week, but I do have a sleeper here from the Washington side. He's $1,600. It's their rookie, Jalen Lane, that they drafted. He got involved a little bit last week, had 2 targets, 1 catch there. He is the outside guy. I think he's going to line up when he plays the opposite side of what Terry McLaurin is. I think he's going to eat into, if Noah Brown's not out there, which he's going to be out there more, I think tapping into the rookie here, Jalen Lane, $1,600. He's a home run guy. I think they drafted him in the 4th round. So I don't mind him at $1,600. It's kind of a no man's land down there. Luke Musgrave, Wilson. I mean, there's really nobody down there below Noah Brown. So I don't mind taking a stab on him in the flex in large field stuff as a value.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of people are talking Noah Brown as wide receiver 3, which is true, but he had 33 snaps, 47%. Jalen Lane had 21 snaps. Chris Moore had 19. So you can see there is some sort of a mix after Deebo and Terry McLaurin. I do think it is Noah Brown 3, and that's how ownership has it. That's how props have it, but it's by no means just those 3 playing every single snap. Lane and possibly Moore will get involved a little bit. I prefer running backs, quarterbacks to the receivers in general today, Hoop. Dobbs is the one that clearly looks like the misprice, but after that, they all seem pretty efficiently priced. I don't know. I'm really curious to hear your takes, what you're doing with the flex at wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, there's not going to be anything like wild or strong takes for me. I mean, the one is definitely McLaurin I like, and I want to make him a priority tonight. And he's boom bust. So, yeah, probably better in the captain, but I want him in the flex as well. I want him in Jaden Daniel captain teams. Like, I think a lot of people will go Debo over McLaurin. He's cheaper and he had the better week 1. So I think that's just a play a lot of people are going to make. I want to prioritize McLaurin. So that's probably my strongest take, I guess, at when looking at these wide receivers. With the Packers guys, I mean, I don't know. I'm just going to play them. Like, especially if I have Jordan Love captain, I want exposure to all these guys just because it could be anyone. Like, I don't know who it's going to be. I don't think any of us know. I don't think anyone out there knows who it's going to be. The one thing I think is interesting, I don't know how I'm going to play it, but Jaden Reed at 8,200. I don't think people are going to want to play Jaden Reed at 8,200. You got Dobbs at 4K. You got Wicks at 36. You got Golden at 64. We're showing 25% on Jaden Reed. I think it could be lower than that because of how all these other cheap guys are in the conversation. So that kind of stands out as interesting. I don't even know if I love it. I mean, I don't even know if I love playing Jaden Reed at 82, but his ownership has to come down a little bit because of the price tag and how cheap all these other options are. So, that's a standout. I don't know. I could maybe just fade it, or I'd play it and go overweight. I haven't decided yet on Jaden Reed, but I think it is somewhat interesting that he's just way more expensive, and I don't think his role really dictates that he should have a much higher price tag. Good with the cheap guys. I like the lane call. Good with Noah Brown. Good with Wicks. But again, my main thing is probably going to be overweight on Scary Terry. And see what happens. He's a boom bust sort of play. Like he can go off and break the slate, or he could get like 3 fantasy points, and that's kind of what you want for showdown. You want the boom bust nature, and I think Terry's perfect for a showdown sort of play.
Yeah, I mean, I think, to be honest, a lot of these receivers are in the fact of outside of Romeo at his price tag. Like Debo gets you 10, it might not be enough. Terry gets you 10, it might not be enough.
Yeah,
and then all the other guys, like Reed's price tag is absurd at 8,200. Then Wicks will outsnap him. Like Reed only plays in 3 receiver sets. He's dealing with his foot injury that he's probably, it sounds like, going to try and deal with all year. So who knows how much they overextend him there. The good thing about him is he will have design plays called for him in the red zone. Like last week, he got 3 targets. He converted on 1 of them. If he doesn't get in the box today, though, it feels very thin that he's optimal at that.
It's almost like a running back that's dependent on touchdowns. Like Jaden Reed at 8,200, it's a wide receiver that's dependent on touchdowns. That makes it even more risky because it's not like you get to the 1 yard line, you have a touchdown dependent running back. He's going to get the opportunity. Like Jaden Reed has to make a play somewhere probably to be in optimal, and even so, like if he only has 2 catches, 30 yards, and a touchdown, that's probably not enough either. So maybe he's a fade on the slate. And we do hope that the 25% ownership holds true, and you beat the field on the fade.
Yeah, he's probably my least favorite of the Wicks, Dobbs, Golden personally. One name I'll throw out, and I don't even know if I'm going to play any. It's really just 150 stuff. 1K Savion Williams, the rookie out of TCU. I know Dollar Bill, some college guys watch. Was really happy when we drafted him. The reason I'm mentioning him is he's going to be completely unknown, like less than 1% possibly. But they got him involved in the first drive. He had a design run and end around with him. He's athletic. He's good with the ball in his hands. Again, it could only be a couple snaps. More than likely, he is absolutely not on the optimal. But for 1K, at less than 1% ownership, I wouldn't be shocked. I'm very bullish on him. Again, he's in a loaded Packers receiving room, which is the problem. But anyone that they're willing to give a handoff to, especially a rookie like that early in last week's game, I think it's interesting there. Big play guys. So other than that, it's I prefer tight ends. I prefer Kraft and Ertz. I prefer Jacobs. I prefer Eckler. I prefer the quarterbacks. Like I don't love the receivers as much as I've liked to start a lot of the island games just because of how many there are and all of them efficiently priced outside of Dobbs. Hoop, I'll just throw it to you to tight end. I mean, I think Kraft's a phenomenal play. I like him more than all of our Packers wide receivers. And Ertz is a beast. Still shows the chemistry with Jaden Daniels in week 1. If you're taking shots on Musgrave or Sanad or Sims, you can let me know. I don't really plan on doing so. Give me a lot of Ertz. Give me Kraft. Give me the tight ends.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. I mean, the one thing about Tucker Kraft, which is nice, and I know one of you guys already touched on it, it's a valid point. It's like you don't got to worry about him not being on the field because he is going to be on the field. With those wide receivers, you have to worry a little bit whether or not they're actually going to be on the field because they're cycling so many people, so many guys through. With tight end, like Kraft's going to be out there, and you can kind of apply the same thing to Zach Ertz. He's going to be out there as well. And, they're not really running too much in regards to other tight ends. I mean, Musgrave is fine, but it's 2,400. It's not like it's a $200 play where if he gets a catch for 12 yards, he might have a chance to be on there. Like at 2,400, he's got to do a little bit more. I do remember him being out on the field. Did he have a catch? He did. One catch last week for 4.
He always falls.
Exactly. So 4 yards, 1 catch. Like, it's not all that exciting, but Kraft and Ertz for sure, and definitely those guys in teams where their quarterbacks are the captain. Jaden Daniels captain teams. I think Ertz is a great play, and then same for Kraft with Jordan Love captain teams. And it's just those two, though. I mean, you don't really need to mess with the other ones. You can if you want, but it's primarily those two.
Yeah, like other guys that got snaps, 49% for Musgrave. He had 17% of snaps when they two tight end and use him as a blocker a lot. Fitzpatrick was in for 15 snaps. Again, mainly blocker. The one that did significant, though, is John Bates. Again, we're talking blocking on Washington for the most part, but 53% of snaps for John Bates at 600. You don't need a ton, I guess. Again, I don't love the upside. I prefer Brooks at 200, and I think I prefer Savion over all these guys that we talked about just because one play, I feel like he can get me 6-7. He actually has explosiveness, whereas Musgrave can't stay on his feet. Bates, we know what he is, etc. But I think we'd be doing a disservice not to mention other guys that will be on the field. Musgrave, Bates, a little bit of Fitzpatrick. Nades, do you have any interest in any of those guys? And then how much Kraft Ertz do you think you'll have?
Yeah, so I like Kraft Ertz a lot at their price points in that mid-tier because you look at Kraft, right? He's going to get played, but it's going to be held somewhat in check with Ertz right there in that range. And then the kickers, right? Everybody looks at these primetime island games. We've been team kicker pretty much ever since we've kind of initiated it and been doing these shows. But again, everybody's starting to catch on more. That's going to be more of a conversation when we start talking defense there. But I think it goes with the tight ends because the tight ends are usually priced right in that range there. So I think Kraft and Ertz are incredible plays. Ertz going to be lower owned than Kraft. In a script, I do want to mention this too. I mean, both these teams pretty much beat their opponents in week 1 pretty handily. So we can't take too much because again, that's where the Packers didn't have to throw a ton. I mean, they were up 17-3 at half, 17-6 going into the fourth quarter. They're not going to drop back, right? The Packers will take the air out of the football with Josh Jacobs and lean on him heavy, which you saw in week 1. I don't think they're willing or going to be able to do that as much in this game. I think Washington's a better football team. They have Jaden Daniels who can make plays. And then same thing with the Commanders, right? Russell Wilson sucks at football, so it's hard to keep up with the Commanders when you got Russell Wilson as your quarterback and he goes 17-37 through the air there. So they had to pass. They weren't successful because Russell Wilson sucks. I think that'll be a different case. If the Packers do make Washington have to pass more, you can see more of these guys, even the wide receivers that we talked about, get more involved there. So did want to mention that. And then, I don't want to play Bates, but he has been on the field. I still prefer Jalen Lane and Chris Brooks much more. I like your call on Savion Williams too. So I like those guys in that range. And I just don't know how much salary you actually need on this slate. Pricing's been pretty soft all season long. I don't really know how much of these $200, $400, $600 guys you need to get to. I'd much go more to a solidified role like a Chris Brooks as a running back 2 backup or a Jalen Lane who had shots to have a big game in week 1. They drafted him high. Same thing. It's kind of the Savion Williams play of the Commanders, but not much more to add.
Hoop, I'll take it to kicker and defense. It looks like kickers will be about double the ownership on both sides to their respective defense. Pricing still seems a little too close on them. I think kicker is probably a little underpriced. Defense is probably a little overpriced. But yeah, I mean, if you see a solo shipper, less than 5 dupes up top, first thing I would think of is defenses have a decent chance of getting there because even what we haven't projected at, people just don't like clicking them. And rightfully so if you look at the past year sample. But you take it before that, defenses were smashing at a pretty high rate. I like kickers today. I think Packers defense is interesting personally. Daniels can take some sacks if he can't avoid it, but I don't love the Commanders' defense is how I see it. Any hot takes at kickers and Ds?
No, I mean, kickers are just still underpriced, and it just seems like they're always in contention to be on optimal. Not always. I mean, obviously things happen, but it just doesn't take much for them to be there. And, 12 to 15 fantasy points at around 5K. Like if they get there, they're usually, I'd like to know the numbers, and I'm sure there are people that dig into this, but if a kicker gets 12 to 15, like what are their chances of being on optimal? Like, and I think it's really, really high. Like, I think it's really high because you're talking about probably a lower scoring game. So they're not competing with the skill position players as much because it's going to probably be a low scoring game where offenses are stalling, when they get close to the red zone. So when they have the big games, like everything in terms of roster construction is good for a kicker. So I just think they're really good plays. I think they're always underpriced. In on them. Defense, definitely don't like the Commanders. Packers, I think, have a good defense, but I don't love the matchup here with the running quarterback in Jaden Daniels. So I'll just be doing my same thing. Like if I get some, cool. If I don't, cool.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll have you pull up FanDuel when Nate talks about defense kickers quick, but I need you to answer this. Very, very good question in terms of food that we like bringing up. Kraft or Velveeta hoop?
Man, this is tough because I am a mac and cheese guy. I like both. But man, I just got to go with the original Kraft. It's so solid. And actually it's funny because I think I had it for dinner like 2 nights ago because we were heading out the door. My son had baseball practice. So had to eat something real quick, fired up a box of Kraft mac and cheese. And I was eating it. I'm like, you know what? For like the price and everything, like this is a quality meal. So I'm going to go with the original Kraft.
All right,
I do like Velveeta as well. I like Velveeta as well.
You throw any hot dogs or tuna or anything like that in there?
No, hell no, man. Just the straight up mac and cheese. My Mrs. Hoop does like the ketchup in there, and it's I like that. That's disgusting.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Nades, I don't know if you have a take on Kraft or Velveeta, then take us into. I already think Velveeta from how you responded facially to Hoop, and then talk about kickers, D's.
So I like both. I'm with Hoop there, but I'm definitely team Velveeta over Kraft. I will say this might be a hot take. I'll probably get slandered on it. Not many people are peas fans, but the time I like to eat peas are actually in mac and cheese, Kraft mac and cheese. So it's pretty good. Or I like the buffalo tuna, the buffalo hot tuna packs, and you put that in that mac and cheese, make a little buffalo mac. That's pretty good there, but yeah, I'm laughing.
Yeah, this was my reaction too. Like hot dogs.
Come on, Tyler. So hot dogs in there, that's like the kid of all kid meals. Yeah, and tuna's very good for you. You throw a little tuna, a different texture, you can get
buffalo tuna. Try it.
I can see that.
I'm supposed to have the bad food takes, and you guys took that.
Hoop eats like a Hoop eats like a 4-year-old. He just wants his plain mac and cheese, zero substance, anything. Get some tuna, get some something in there.
Yeah, my dad's in the chat there. Dad's in the chat. Maybe it's my mom from an early age, right? She throws the peas in there. She loves peas. I'm not a huge fan. I don't eat it all the time, but occasionally I'll throw them in there.
Well, if you start, I can see it. You start at a young age. Like that's a way to get the young kids to eat their veggies, toss it in something they like. So it makes sense. Right. And you just kind of get used to it.
Definitely the buffalo flavored tuna is definitely my go-to. A little buffalo mac, it's pretty good. But jumping into defenses here, I think Packers defense with Jacobs captain teams is pretty interesting. Nobody's going to play the defenses. We saw the game go over on Monday. And Bears defense being the optimal. It was actually the optimal captain in a lot of the large field stuff when the Vikings scored 27 points, right? It takes one scoop and score, one pick six to the house, and actually helps your offensive stack on the other side there. So in Jacobs teams, assuming, right, Green Bay, where Jacobs pays off is when Green Bay's taking the air out of the football. I think that makes some sense. Obviously adding Micah Parsons there, and we still got Xavier McKinney in the back and all of that there. So I prefer the Packers defenses. Love the kickers. I'll be overweight on the kickers as always. They're just severely underpriced. I mean, these guys should be in the 6K, low 6K range where you actually have to think about it. It's pretty easy click. Their floor just seems too good, especially the Packers where these drives can stall out. And LaFleur is very, very willing to just run McManus out there and boot it through the uprights. So I like the Packers defense, Jacobs captain teams. That's a little way to play Jacobs differently, I think. Outside of that, not playing any of these other guys.
Yeah, with how the pricing is, lower scoring games, Kraft, Ertz, Golden, Eckler, JCM, even Jaden Reed. Like, would you be shocked if McManus or Gay outscored them? I wouldn't. If the offenses stall like that, 12, 13, 14 from one of those, Reed, no one of the names I listed, the Ertzes, the Krafts of the world, we have projected for over 11. So leave a 1,000, 2,000 in salary right there, making a pivot like that, I think is interesting in chalkier teams. FanDuel, the only thing I really noticed is they continue to price defenses up, like really close to the kickers. Packers defense is more than McManus. Gay and Commanders are pretty close in salary. I mean, kickers will always get more ownership there, so defenses will be even lower owned on FanDuel. And then JCM and Eckler priced up a decent bit, kind of like on DraftKings, but even more so on FanDuel. I think the running game will be overlooked. I mean, it's really easy down low. Kraft, Dobbs, Wicks, Noah Brown. The prices are free that it makes spending for Jaden Daniels, that captain who projects, or MVP, who projects the best, or Jacobs Love. Like, it's really easy to get stud. There's enough value, and you can ignore defenses. Do you see it the same way, just the general build? Anything you want to elaborate on?
Yeah, it's pretty similar. Like Jaden Daniels, Josh Jacobs, I'm assuming get a majority of the ownership in the MVP spot. Like that makes sense. Jordan Love will have some. I mean, he's what is that, $1,800 cheaper than Jaden Daniels. So like those three for sure, even more so than on DK, will be owned in the MVP. Debo, $1,200 cheaper than Terry McLaurin. That stands out. Jaden Reed right there with those guys, which is crazy. Like, man, it makes it hard to play Jaden Reed on FanDuel at $9,800. That's a crazy price tag in my eyes. Should be low owned. I mean, the only spot I'd probably play him would be Jordan Love MVP teams. You have JCM more expensive than Eckler, but his game fits FanDuel a little bit more, but it is an expensive price tag. It's going to be a little harder for Eckler to even get there on FanDuel without the full PPR. So that's a talking point. Tucker Kraft at 5K seems like a really, really good value play. Cheaper than Ertz, where it's flipped the other site. DK, Dobbs, Wicks, Noah Brown. You have all these cheap guys. So, pretty similar in terms of roster construction. It is going to be much harder, I think, for somebody to beat one of those top three at the MVP spot, Daniels, Jacobs, and Love, just for the scoring purposes and the prices as well. But that's where we're at on FanDuel.
Yeah, that makes me, because it's harder to see it, it makes me, if I am playing someone at MVP, not name those three, like I want them to be able to outscore everyone outright on the slate.
Yes.
And who is that? Devo, Scary Terry, Golden. Then you could go to I think I'm even more interested in JC MVP on FanDuel, because you just leverage off of Jaden Daniels so much. And certainly, if he rushes 2 in, it's not Jaden doing it that way. So, and most definitely, Dre, can you play Daniels MVP Packers in the flex? Absolutely. Jaden Daniels could take 6 sacks today trying to run back there. Doesn't mean he can't run in for 2 or 1 fumble, a kick return, a pick 6. Like, so much variance in the defensive position. When I won, I had Worthy up top, Mahomes in the flex, and I had Eagles defense in the flex. Like, there's so much anti-correlation can get there in a 1-game slate. And a lot of that anti-correlation, when you win a lot more because people don't feel comfortable, especially hand building, they don't get there. So, yeah, I don't mind that one bit. Nades, anything to add on FanDuel? Otherwise, just give me your final thoughts before we get to that SHIPIT ticket number 7. So, FanDuel, and then just period. Who wins this game? Anything you want to say to the people?
Yeah, I will say 2 points. I don't think Jaden Reed is playable outside the MVP position. And the reason being is I could see Jaden Reed having like a 3 for 2 touchdown line, right? A 3 for 20 and 2 touchdowns. And maybe it's not Jacobs, right, that runs in the touchdowns in the goal line, in the red zone. And they just focus on Jaden Reed. He's showing where he can have the ability to have 2 or 3 touchdown games. And if you do that, nobody's going to have it. That's one way to a more unique shipper over on FanDuel. And same goes for JCM there. It's all Jaden Reed's direct leverage off of Jacobs, JCM's direct leverage off of Daniels. They can both get there in a similar way when it's a touchdown dependent site. So I'm chasing touchdowns. I'm probably not playing Jaden Reed outside of MVP just because if he gets there, it's probably dictated in the red zone with touchdowns. Same thing with JCM. So that's additional takes. Everything else, I'm in line with what you guys said. Overall, I think it's a pretty good game. I think it's back and forth. That's kind of why I'm tapping more into the Eckler stuff. I think both teams are going to have to pass more than they did in week 1. Packers wanted to be pretty the Packers are willing to be pass heavy, and I expect them to have to pass more this game. And not just because to give a break to Jacobs, but I just think they didn't have to last week. And I think more people are going to tap into week one, the overreactions. I think it's more of a back and forth game. And hopefully my Packers win, but I won't be surprised to see Jaden Daniels come in here and win in Lambeau in primetime.
It'll be a win over here as long as some Shipping Nation logos are up top, and Z Trivett 21 would look a little sweeter as well. Hoopster, let's do the golden ticket winner number 7 before I get your final thoughts. 555, 100K possibility individually, but a lot of money possibility added to the Shipping Nation. 79,000 right now.
Yeah, this is the big boy because we got the 555 milli maker. Half of the winnings from this ticket go to the Ship It Nation games. The Ship It prize pool right now is at 80,000. If we hit this, that goes to $580,000. So like this would be a massive, massive win. And then whoever this ticket winner is would get $100,000 as well. So this is a big one. This is the difference maker. This could really propel things. And the winner of golden ticket number 7 is, let me see if it works. Boom. Chase Countryman. So Chase Countryman, I like that last name. Very interesting. Chase Countryman is the winner, and a lot of pressure will be behind you supporting this entry. So big things to come, and excited, and congratulations to Chase.
I mean, how cool is that? All 3 tickets. I mean, just getting to the final 50 is really awesome. But I mean, how many people are giving 555 away? It's not only Shipping Nation. Shout out to Sabersim for helping as well, but 50,000 of our own money, doing this every single week, trying to give back, make it a fun way. That's what we're all about at ShippingNation.com. We appreciate all of the support, whether you're a member at Shipping Nation, you're in the Discord. Obviously, we appreciate that a lot, but we realize not everyone has that financial ability. You might play $1 or $2, whatever it is, in your contest. It wouldn't make sense to be paying more for your content than you're playing. The like button just helps us out a ton. Being in chat, engaging, it is really awesome to see. Hoop, any final thoughts, anything you want to say before we get on out of here?
Yeah, looking forward to this game. I mean, it's a good one. We have firepower here on both sides. I think optimal lineup could look a lot of different ways. And I will say, I think your guys' Packers is going to get the job done tonight. I think they could be a top-end team this NFL season. They look good. They added Micah Parsons. I'm going to go Packers to win. And I'm going to, kind of dictate the way I build teams based around that. I think the Packers get the job done tonight.
I hope so, but again, as long as Z Trivett 21 or some other members are up top, Packers could lose by 55, and I wouldn't lose any bit of sleep. That's the game we play. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Again, like button, subscribe button on the way out. I'm curious, drop your final score for the game down below. Who you got? Packers, Washington. I want to see, I'll be keeping a look on that, see if people are thinking it goes over, under, who the public may be on a little bit more. Again, appreciate everyone. Nades, thanks for stepping in. Go Pack, go. Let's see those Shipping Nations up top. For Hoop, for Nades. I'm Title. Good luck. Be safe. Peace.